Welcome to the Stripologized block of the month, where we take a traditionally pieced quilt block, Stripologize it using our Stripology rulers, and master your Stripology rulers book. Now, what does that mean? This project is really going to help you master the skills and techniques found in the book. You can break down a block, find the easier and faster ways to do things, and of course, making things a lot more accurate. So for this first block and how you're going to find your instructions, there is a printable PDF found on our website where you can have the line drawing of a block and then different size options for a 12-inch block, 9-inch block, and a 6-inch block. Now what you need for this project is, of course, the free printable PDF, the Master Your Stripology Rulers book, and of course, the Stripology rulers. You can either use the XL ruler, or the squared, and I'll be using both mini rulers. Now another helpful tool is going to be our GEasy ruler stickers. So let's get started with this first block. Now I have a 12-inch block here, so let's take a look at our sizes. You can play with coloring however you want, so we're just going to look at the basic units. And first off, we're seeing that this block breaks down into 4 flying geese, and then the center is a quarter square triangle, and then we have the corner squares. So I have the units broken down here on the sheet, telling us how many of each unit we will need. So if you want to follow along and sew along, you can choose to do either of the 3 sizes of the blocks, and this will give you the finished sizes of each unit. Remember, finished sizes, that is not with our seam allowance included. And I did that because in our book, things are listed by finished sizes. So I'm going to show you how I work with a 12-inch block. So we're starting with this one, and we're starting with our flying geese. So we go right into our book and find our flying geese technique on page 18, and then the charts start on page 19, depending on what ruler you're going to be using to trim. But this will tell you exactly the sizes of pieces that you're going to want to cut to make the flying geese with the GEasy Flying Geese method. So I'll be using my mini ruler to trim mine, that is the largest size you can trim with a mini ruler. So my large square, you will notice that our fabrics here, fabric B is actually the background here. And then fabric A, which is normally the background for flying geese, is actually the dark. So for fabric A, my background or my square needs to be 9 inches. So that is whatever color you're going to put in your flying geese or your start points. So I have cut my 9-inch square for that one, and then for whatever fabric you want to be on the outside, that you need a 7.5-inch square. So I have those 2 cut here. So this is ready to make my 4 flying geese. Of course, with our technique, you make 4 at a time, and as listed here on the sheet, we need 4 flying geese. So that is for the 3 to make 3 by 6-inch finished flying geese. So that is first step. Second step is looking at our quarter square triangle. So we need one of them that finishes at 6 inches. So the conversion chart is going to be found here on page 10. Now, when we use the Stripology version or technique for making quarter square triangles, we're always going to be making 2 of them. And I don't really care if I make 2, I'll set one aside and make another block later with it. But for the 6-inch finished, for quarter square triangles, we want to start with 2 squares that are 1.5 inches larger than a finished size. So that means my squares that are going to finish at 6 are going to need to be cut at 7.5 inches. So I have found 2 fabrics that I want to use for my quarter square triangle in the middle and cut them each one at 7.5 inches. And they are ready to be played with using the technique described here to make 2 quarter square triangle blocks. So then the last step of the book, of course, is our corner squares, so just a square. We have those here in the corners. We need 4, and they need, for the 12-inch block, to be 3 inches finished, which means I'm going to have to cut them at 3.5 inches so that I can sew them in. So I have 4 3.5-inch squares to finish my block. Now I'm going to assemble the units first, of course, starting with my geese and my 1/4 square triangle unit. And then I'm going to assemble this block in 3 rows. I like to press away from the center in the middle, or towards the center in the middle, and away on the outsides, so that everything will nest together once I finish my block.